And that means I found you. He's back. Hi, guys, back in your living room or your car or wherever you are. I'm so glad that you joined me wherever you are because we get to have fun for a while here. This is the Dr. Cloud Show, and you've tuned into the right place. If you want to fight dysfunction, that's what we do, one dynamic at a time. And we do it by sharing your stories and talking together and putting a few ideas out there. And in order to do that, I need to give you a phone number. 844-940-2774 is the number to call. 844-940-2774. 844-940-2774. Put in your speed dial. That way, one day it's going to hit you. You know what? I have something I want to talk about. You can get speed dial. All righty. Here we go. Quick announcement. Webinar coming up. It's going to be November 15th, 2 hours right here, you and me talking about family dysfunction and how to hopefully do something about it. Come on, got all this stuff happening in your family, extended family, that adult sibling or that adult child of yours that maybe is being childer than their age, perhaps. Or even your siblings, or maybe your parents, or if you're a parent, maybe your adult kid or your in-laws, or who knows, but families have issues, right? And sometimes those become not so fun. And so we are going to have a 2-hour live webinar right here, September 15th. Sign up for it now. If you can't be there live, sign up for the live event. You have to do that. And then you can stream it afterwards. I was going to say forever. I don't know how long you'll read. I mean, I think it's as long as I don't know. Albie, you'll have to tell me, how long can they stream it? I had a little bit of a forgot moment there. I'm checking this. So Albie, tell us about this.
Sure. Yeah. They can stream it within 48 hours after the live event.
And yeah, but for how long?
As long as they like.
As long as you like. There you go. There you go. Because families, you might not fix your family in a day, right? It might take a week or maybe more. Okay. That's what we're doing. And how do you sign up? I didn't tell you how to sign up for it. That's something except today. Go to boundaries.me is the website /family. Boundaries.me/family to get signed up for that. All righty, we are going to go into the thought for the day, and the thought for the day is this. How do you look at an occurrence of something that you've attempted? And what I mean by that is we have a lot of single people calling about their dating lives on here, right? When you ask somebody out on a date, that lemonade is good. When you ask somebody out on a date, maybe they don't want to go, or you go out once and they don't want to go out again. How do you interpret that? Do you use what I think is Carol Dweck? What is her term for this? She wrote a book about growth mindset. I don't know. I always call it, do you use it with a validation mindset? Do you go into it thinking, okay, if they like me, that validates that I'm smart or attractive or fun, or there's something good about me if they say yes? But that goes two ways. If they say no, then that validates everything I think about myself, that I'm not pretty enough, smart enough, handsome enough, skinny enough, fat enough, large enough, small enough, tall enough, educated enough, not educated enough, rich enough, poor, whatever is in our heads that invalidates us continually. That event gets put in with a confirmation bias. See, I told you. I told you. Or you're a salesperson. You make a sales call. They don't buy it. Well, just proves this isn't going to work. Proves I can't do this. Proves whatever. And it validates the negative. That's what it does. So that's not a good mindset. Now, here's the other kind of mindset, because what does it do? It just sends you in a dark hole. Everything gets interpreted worse, and the software changes in your head to something that I talk about a lot in Boundaries.me, which is the 3 Ps. You interpret it personally. I'm not good enough for something enough. And pervasively, well, it's not just my dating life, it's my work, it's my career, it's the city I live in, it's the whole world. And it all just goes to hell. It's all black, awful, dark hole, light goes away. And then therapy is permanent. Well, it's not going to be any different next month, right? That's what happens when we use one event to evaluate. Oh, by the way, when that mindset kicks in, then you go passive. You stop trying. It's called learned helplessness. The other mindset, what the heck? If anybody successful had that mindset, look, I mean, I had to have a spinal procedure yesterday. I had to have an epidural. You've heard me talk about this. I'm waiting on a surgery, another one. And what if who does it? Anesthesiologist, we're in the OR. What if he sticks it in and kind of slide? Because I could hear him, talking to the techs and the monitors and everything. What if he kind of missed? Oh, crap, I don't know how to do this. I give up. Okay, fine. Well, that's what happens in a lot of people's heads. Pick somebody. Brady. When he throws an interception, what if he said, what made me ever think I could play in the NFL? Of course you're going to have bad outcomes. That's a validation mindset. You've got to change that. And you can change it. We know this from research. You can change this. People do it all the time with help. Okay, so what's the other mindset? You use that event to get curious about and learn from it. Say, oh, I threw an interception. It goes back to the whole, guys, I think we need to, the defense move this way. We need to put another blocker over there. We're learning from why it didn't go well. Okay, now we're going to go do it again. Oh, by the way, they might give you a handful of Super Bowl rings if you think that way, or a lot of big mansions and a lot of entrepreneurs who have failed 80,000 times and done it, or anybody that didn't marry their prom date that's gotten rejected between that one and whenever. So I just want you to go through, do a little audit. Something doesn't turn out well. What does your head say to you as a result? What's your mindset? Does it start to beat you up? Or does it say, I could probably do that better. Maybe I need to do that. Or maybe that person's an idiot or crazy or something's wrong with them. That's why they didn't buy it. They didn't need it. Maybe their brother-in-law sold them one last week. I don't know, but it doesn't matter if we learn from it. Maybe they didn't want to go out with me again because I was so nervous about being evaluated that I wasn't in myself. Maybe I can work on that. That's a growth mindset. Okay, so let's go to calls. Why don't we do that? Where are my calls? I'm having screen problem. I had to move. There's some stuff going on in the house, and I had to move my setup today. And I am working on finding your calls. Okay, so let's go here to the phone calls. We are going to talk to. Let me see. Looks like Rebecca, who's calling us from YouTube. She watches on YouTube with our lovely YouTube audience, whom we love very much, along with Facebook and Instagram and the podcast. And Rebecca's calling us from Nashville. Rebecca, welcome to the program.
Thank you.
Hey, Rebecca, I you don't have to worry because I was in Nashville not too long ago, and there's about, from one lunch I had there, there's about 15,000 calories that aren't going to find you. So don't worry about it. I took them with me.
We do have good food here. That is for sure.
That you do. Tell me your question. How can I help you?
Okay. So, I got married to this man almost 10 years ago, and we have had a series of marital problems and issues. A lot of them have been because of the influence that my parents have had in my life. And every time I tried to set a boundary, we sought counseling over it. And every time I tried
No,
to set a boundary,
wait. Hold on a second. Your parents are intruding and you set a boundary but how does that cause a problem with your husband if you're trying to protect your marriage?
Well, it's not really a problem with my husband. The thing is, we were almost about to get a divorce. Like, we were almost in the final stages of a divorce. And I did a lot of soul searching and decided through prayer and soul searching, decided that I wanted to pause the divorce for 6 months to see if we could figure this out. And
Wow.
so
it's commendable.
It's been a lot to process.
Yeah, that's hard.
But with that, giving that backstory a little bit, my parents initially gave me the money to get the divorce, and they've kind of been background noise in my ear to get the divorce. And I have probably listened to what they said a little bit more than what actually, looking at actual facts about things.
Yeah. That's by the way, this I just want to make a comment here, and it's not just about the divorce issue; it's about a lot of things with marriages and parents. I think it was either in the Boundaries book or Boundaries in Marriage. There's a section in there about catching the virus, and I've seen where that came from. I just seen so many people. Their relationship is great until they went home or visited parents or whatever. And it's like they get infected with something about how and they take it home. They get infected. This is a real thing. I love relationships with in-laws and parents, but you've got to have immunities, and that should be a mutually agreed upon agreement, right? That it's your marriage. I'm going to support you. You want my opinion? I'll give it to you. I'm not going to meddle. Anyway, so keep going. So what is the question about this?
So anyways, when I decided to reconcile and pull this process back, went through the series of events with them, just kind of majorly just like not approving of this decision, telling me that it's only a matter of time, that this is going to happen.
I get it. What they're interfering. So what's the question?
The question is how to handle them in this situation, because every time that I've tried to put a boundary up in the past, they've kind of kicked and screamed. And
what have you said?
Like literally.
What have you said? Tell me the exact words that you say and exactly what they do, as briefly as you can.
Okay. So I told them, like, for example, like last Thanksgiving, my mom said something about my husband not coming to our Thanksgiving dinner. And I said, we're either going to come as a family or we're not going to come at all. And
wait a minute, hold on. She said something. Hold on. I didn't understand that. She said something about him not coming. So he wasn't coming, and she said something about that, or she said she didn't want him to come.
She said that she didn't want him to come.
Oh, and you said we're coming as a family or we're not coming.
Correct.
Great. Okay.
And so this big, huge fight happened.
And she what?
And this big, huge fight happened among like my dad and my sister and everything. And it was just a really messy situation dealing with them. And so that's the one example of the boundary.
Well, but hold on. Stop right there.
Okay.
They pushed back. This big, huge fight, you said, was that in the conversation, or he ended up coming and it turned into a big deal? What happened?
Well, no, he ended up coming, but there was something that happened before she said, I don't want him to come. And so so that's the reason, like the fight happened before she said, I don't want him to come. And then they didn't really fight. They just weren't overly
Okay.
friendly like when we all came.
All right. Okay. So the question is what to do when they don't accept your boundary. Is that the question?
Yes.
Okay.
Or see,
So
right now, because I'm taking my husband back, like, or
yeah,
trying to reconcile
you're
our
trying to
relationship.
trying to work on your relationship. I get that, and they're interfering, right?
Yes, and they're
Okay,
not. They told me they don't want me back at their house again, but it's okay for their
that's fine.
grandkids to come.
That's fine. Look, Mom, Dad, I I don't know how to be more clear than I've been. This is my marriage. This is my family, and I'm fighting for it. And it's hard, hard work. And we are really, really trying. Okay. That's what I'm doing. And I will continue to do that. And if I change that, you'll be the first to know. But that's what I'm doing. So you can either be supportive and say, we're pulling for you, or we won't be talking about it. Now, we can still have conversations.
Right,
We can, but I will not talk about this anymore. Do you understand? Because if you do, I will end the conversation because I can't be listening to this while I'm working on my marriage. Do you understand? Can I get that commitment from you? That's the answer, my answer to your question, as I understand it.
right.
Right.
It's just not very that that comment like would not be very acceptable in the eyes of my parents.
Stop. You got to listen to me. That's not the issue. I said, if they can't accept it, we won't be talking. See, if your comments are going to be driven by their reaction, they're totally in control.
Right.
So what's
Correct.
unclear? What is unclear about what I've said to say to them? See, if I was as clear as I could be, if you can't be supportive and you talk about it with me, I'll end the conversation. So that presumes that they might not be supportive, right? But we're not on the phone anymore.
Correct. Yes.
So problem solved. Doesn't mean it's easy.
So what do you think you recommend that I do about them asking for the grandkids to come over there, but me and my husband not being welcome?
Well, I really like that if the grandkids can have a great relationship with them and they are not poisoning your kids towards you or working on the marriage or their father, then yeah, why not? There's not a problem. I mean, the only problem is it's a little awkward, but yeah, I love it when grandkids and grandparents get to go do fun things together and not talk about how bad dad is or how crazy mom is for staying with them or blah, blah, blah. Now, the other thing you could do is if you could tell them, I would like to work out how we can have a better relationship, mom and dad. So if you guys want to go talk with me with a family counselor and establish some sort of protocols and expectations for each other, I'll be glad to do that. But I will not, with you alone, have this conversation anymore because I've heard all your arguments. I get it. I think about them. Okay, I get it. But if you want to talk about it, I'll go talk about it with somebody. Okay, that's what I'm thinking. All right, Rebecca. I don't know everything that's going on in your marriage, but first of all, thank you for your call. A lot of people can relate to this. I do hope you're getting some good help with it, and I hope it gets to the outcome that you desire. I know there's a lot that goes into that. He's got to be willing, and and there's stuff. But I always, we like to save marriages. Sometimes that's not a good idea. Jesus said that. God said that. Moses said that. But by and large, oh gosh, if one can get turned around and saved, what a good thing that is, especially for kids. All righty, let's go back to the phone. Phones, where are we? Here we go. Gail's calling us from Facebook. My Facebook buddies, love you guys. I love how you support each other and help each other and come on there. Even not even just callers, but people that post stuff. It's really cool. Gail, welcome to the program.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Enjoyed
You're welcome.
getting to talk to you. Listen to you all the time.
No, cool.
Jump right in. Yeah. So I've done boundaries 3 times and I've failed every time.
Whoa. What do you mean you've done boundaries 3 times? I don't know what that means. For me, at least.
I try to put.
For me, it's a continuous line that goes through life. So what do you mean you've done it 3 times? 3 times in my life, I said no, and it didn't work.
You're right. And
what
I
does
have
that
it
mean?
next to my Bible. And
What
I
does
have
that
all my
mean?
kids. I said, next to the Bible, you read boundaries. And that's it. It'll get you through life.
Actually,
But
there's, in some ways, it's not that's not a good analogy. I started to say in some parts it's sort of synonymous, because what the boundaries book says is exactly what the Bible says in so many places, and one of the reasons the book got popular was that people of faith, I hang out in the faith world, and Christians had been taught that you're supposed to put up with all sorts of abuse in the name of forgiveness or patience or long suffering and all that. And that's not what the Bible says. And so that's partly, I think, why it helped people understand that. Anyway, so what's your question now that you've tried it 3 times and it didn't work?
Yeah, this time, yeah. It's just, and it's getting really, really painful for me. I mean, we're very attached to the 2 grandchildren. My son is almost 60 years old. He's retired from the military. He's married to a 40-year-old, and they decided to have kids.
Hold on. Your son is almost 60?
Yes.
Well, you're only like 42.
Oh, yeah,
how did that happen?
Yeah.
Okay, you don't sound.
70.
How old are you?
God did it. I'm 76.
76. Oh, so you were a young mom.
Absolutely.
Wow, how cool is that? Okay, so what's the problem?
Anyway,
60, retired military.
Yeah, and they were in Italy, and then they finally came back here, and they just decided to get married again and raise a family, which was great. And we have 2 precious grandchildren.
Hold on a second.
3 and 6.
Who got married again? He was married before. You said
he was
decided.
married to her, and they divorced, and they got back.
That's what I thought you said. So they were divorced. They got back together for Act 2, and then they had a family. And so now what?
Correct.
Right.
So last year, the oldest daughter is 6, excuse me, and she's autistic, and she's on the scale, and I never will. And COVID came along; they couldn't get her in school, and we're very blessed.
Wait a minute, hold on.
With finances.
It's something I couldn't understand what you said. She was 6, and what about the scale? What'd you say?
She's autistic, and I don't know where on
Okay.
the scale she is, because the parents are still in denial. And we paid a hell of a lot of money last year to send her to this school, and it was mainly with COVID, and you couldn't go to school here in Georgia hardly anywhere, but a private school would take you if you could afford it. It was a lot, over $30,000 for 1 year for a 5-year-old.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And they wanted her to go back there again this year. We feel like if we invest money in something for this child, we need to see a return on our investment. We want to know how she's doing, what she's doing, if this is a proper fit for her. By
the way, hold on for a second.
Okay.
I just want to reiterate what you said. It's not just a grandparent paying for a grandchild that has to see a return on investment. That's just true of life. If we are giving to somebody, then we're giving to a good outcome. And if we're not getting a good outcome, then it doesn't matter if it's a grandchild or a friend or whoever, we don't continue to give expecting a different result. We change some things if we're not getting a good outcome. So So
But I would
it's
like
not
to see my
it's not
daughter and
helping the
grandchildren.
kid.
What?
Huh?
No, I mean, she's back in school. I don't know. Since we had our little conference on the porch out here and talked about it, the mother got up and she just looked at us and said, I don't need your money. If I want to pay for it, I'll pay for it myself. And I know he's retired military. I don't know what kind of money they've got.
Well, what had transpired that she had that reaction to?
We sat down at the table and they wanted to put her back in the same school. We sent her to 2 other places to try to see if that would be better for her. Because I've seen her testing and she did in that expensive school with a small amount of kids. She did not come out of that program a year later any better. And we felt like it was not the place for her to go.
Okay.
Because I can't even, I've tried to talk to them. Anyway,
okay, but what happened? But what happened? What happened in the
what happened? Going down the tube.
What happened in the interaction that the mother got up and left?
We sat at the table. She had very little to say. I told her the different programs I'd seen.
What?
And
No.
She said, "No, I'm leaving."
You just said, "I don't think she's any better. Let's look at some other programs." That's what you said?
That's correct.
Okay. And then she left.
And I said, and then she said, if I want my daughter to go there, I'll pay it myself. And she got up in tears and walked out. And I have never seen her since, and it's been 4 months. My son does have a little bit of backbone where he will stand up to her and say, I'm taking the kids over. And I've seen them twice, and it's been over 4 months. And I just had knee replacement surgery, and I kind of would like to see my grandkids before I went to surgery, but that didn't happen. So,
that's
she's
very,
calling
very,
all the
very
shots.
sad.
It is.
That's very sad. Well, she is calling all the shots. Because she's the,
and it's got.
Let me finish.
And
she's calling all the shots because she's the parent, and it's sad the way she's calling the shots, but she is the parent.
The way she's parenting.
And that's the problem, right? The problem is she's in control of what she does with her kid. What you have to decide.
She's in denial if there's anything wrong.
Well, it sounds like that. And her husband sounds like has a problem too. You're being hurt by this, but it sounds like he is he's aware that the kid needs more help than he's getting, right? She's getting.
Correct.
Is that right?
And I have to think that this.
So what is the question?
I would like to reach out to her. I have made 2 phone calls, left messages, and she doesn't call me back because we were originally planning a big birthday party for Pops, who is their granddaughter, son. I mean, my husband, their grandfather. Who we adore these kids. I got pictures everywhere.
And you reached out to her. You reached out to her individually, or you reached out to both of them
individually?
Together?
No, I talk to him occasionally. He'll always say,
what I would suggest is that you send an invitation to them together. Okay, we are having this big party. We understand there's some difficulties in our relationship over the school. Let's set those aside for the sake of the grandchildren and for Pops. Okay, and we can address the school issue or not address it later. But let's move it to the side and let's try to make this joyous occasion a joyous occasion. And I'm inviting both of you and the whole family. And let's just have it together and let me know what you do. And you invite them together, in my view, because that puts the decision where the decision should be. They have to decide. So he's got to solve his problem.
Right.
That's
absolutely
his best. That's the way I would do it. And I also would. What's up?
Invite them. Excuse me. Invite them, both of them, and the whole family to come and join us for whatever occasion we have. It's usually Thanksgiving.
Sure. Why not? But I would set a ground rule. Obviously, it's really painful, and I'd be empathic. I'd say obviously the school thing is really painful, and we can set that aside. And let's not talk about it. Let's not interfere, because the rest of our relationship is really good, and the kids
Right.
love. Let's just do that. So that would be what
Yeah.
I would try. And if that doesn't work, then you can invite them to, let's go see a counselor together, because it's not good. We're not going to be around forever. Okay. Let's fix our relationship. We love you. We love our grandkid. Let's get this worked out. Okay. Speaking of, that kind of issue, Gail, thank you for your call. You have reminded me, we are having a webinar on this very problem, as well as all of the cousins of this problem and all the grandparents of this problem. These problems get spawned on in generational lines, right? So November 15th, we're having a 2-hour webinar called When Family Hurts, Breaking Destructive Patterns, Generational Patterns, Thanksgiving, paying for school, an adult kid that still lives at home that you can't get to go do anything, a parent that's our first call, parents interfering in a marriage, they're trying to put it back together. All of these family issues of generations and concentric circles and all of this, a lot of stuff to work on, and we're going to work on it. When Family Hurts, Breaking Destructive Patterns, November 15th. Now, if you can't be there live, we are going to have live, because that's the cool thing, because we get to have some questions and all that. But if you can't be there live, sign up for the live seminar, and then you can stream it afterwards. It's like Netflix or Amazon Prime. I missed Ted Lasso because I was on a trip. Oh, no problem. I can watch it when I get home. Works the same way. Many times as you want. I'll give you extensive materials where you can sit down with your small group, or even watch it with a bunch of people at your house. Have a Hey, I got an idea. Send out a dysfunction email. There you go. Send out the dysfunction email to your close friends and say, we're having a dysfunction party. Come on over. You want to make it really interesting? Invite your family. Okay. That would be fun, right? Let's talk to, speaking of family issues, oh my gosh. How about this? There's a bunch of family issues here. Let's talk to Diane first, who's calling us from the Facebook crowd in the great state of Illinois. Diane, welcome to the program.
Thank you for taking my call.
You're very welcome.
My question is today is, how do I make peace with my family of origin when I've done things in the past that they did not approve of? They made their feelings quite clear that they did not approve.
You did something,
Yeah.
Somebody did something that their family didn't approve of? Does that really happen? You're kidding me.
It happens.
Oh my gosh.
It does
now,
happen.
What? All right. So I interrupted you. You did something that they didn't approve of, and then they came crawling to you in sackcloth and ashes and repented and said they're sorry. And so
No, it wasn't exactly like that.
No,
it was
not
more
exactly.
or less, how could you do that? Christians don't do that. You're wrong for thinking that way.
Probably.
You're too
Hold
sensitive.
on. Can I interrupt for 1 second? Lest we get shut down for spreading misinformation. I don't know what you did. I don't know what you did, but I guarantee you there's a Christian that's done it before you did. So that's not true what they said. But so what in the world did you do that Christians don't do, that they can't get their head around, that part of being a Christian that includes forgiveness? What was that?
Well, more or less what it was I had issues with my mother-in-law. My mother-in-law and father-in-law have passed. She was a helicopter mom to my husband. There was not clear boundaries. And
how long were you married before she passed?
Oh, we were married probably 20 years before she passed.
Oh, that's a lot of helicopter landings on your house. Okay, so
she was one of these very nice people, but very controlling. So other
Well,
people
I
did not
don't think
see what I
controlling
saw.
people. I don't think controlling people are nice. I think they're fake. If they're nice and
Well, yeah,
controlling,
okay.
they're passive aggressive, manipulative, and use a lot of guilt. That's not. Yeah, okay, we can call that nice. By the way, nice is really not a biblical value. Kindness is. But what people call
Mm.
nice, they use it in. Don't say that. That's not nice. Okay, lie. What? That's crazy. All right. So your question was in the beginning. You said, "How can I make peace with your family?" So what is? Fill out that question. What is it that I can answer?
Well,
Because she's
at
there. The in-laws have passed away, right?
the in-laws are passed away. Me and my husband had went through a lot of counseling. We are fine now. I mean, he repented of some. I mean, we both said what we did wrong. We've worked it out. Me and my husband have worked it out, and they're both gone now. But because we all
Oh
went
my
to church
gosh! Wait a
together,
minute! Wait a minute! Wait a minute! Listen to what this Christian did. They both came together and they took individual responsibility for what they did wrong. Instead of only blaming the other one, they said, I can change me. And the other one said, I can change me. Oh, and then you said they worked it out.
and we've been
There you
married
go.
for 33 years now.
Way to go. We should stop this call and have a big celebration right now, but we can't do that. So go ahead. What is the
So
what's the question?
So when this was all happening, my family shamed and guilted me and said that was a terrible thing to do. So I walked away and
Wait a minute.
tried to figure out what
was the terrible thing to do? Or you don't want to say?
well, to shun my in-laws for what we did to my in-laws. We
What
did
did
not
you do
take
to
care of them when we just we walked away from them and didn't let them control us anymore. And
Okay, was there a
they didn't
process
like that.
involved? Was there a process
Yes,
involved, or did you just ghost them?
No, there was a process involved. I went to my mother-in-law. Me and my husband went to my mother-in-law or my in-laws, and my mother-in-law did not think my husband would do this. So she kept butting in, and finally he took
Would
my
do what?
side. And
She didn't think he would do what?
She didn't think that he would take my side and not completely cut him out of our lives, but put major boundaries there where we did not
So
see them very often.
y'all went to them and said, what you're doing here is hurtful. If you can stop doing that, we'll be great. But if you can't, we can't see you. That's kind of the gist of it.
Yeah, kind of the gist of it. But she
Okay,
did not
but
think
over a process, and you tried and all that, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I wish we had
But
more time, but I'm trying to get an assumption of mine answered. My assumption is you did everything right. You tried as hard as you could. You weren't wanting to end the relationship, but you had to have some kind of a boundary because of how they were hurting you and your marriage and all that. And so after trying and you said, well, then we can't talk. That's kind of what happened.
Yeah, more or less. Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. So then who is it you're not at peace with now?
My family of origin, because they all knew, we all went to church. They all knew each other. They thought that was horrible for what we did. They thought I was overreacting. And so I walked away from my...
Were you?
I don't think so. No, I don't think I was. I think I was expressing my opinion and they didn't like it.
Yeah, but I mean, by overreacting, somebody said, I like brick houses and you have a stone house. And you said, I'll never talk to you again if you voice your
No, it was not like that.
There was, I'm assuming there was something pretty egregious that was happening that you had to have that firm boundary, right?
Yes.
Okay. So
more or less what it was. Go ahead.
So your family is doing what now? They're talking to you, but they're upset with you?
No, my family is not talking to me now. They were so mad and so angry over what we did, and I had a brother who would not talk to me because of what we did.
You and your in-laws?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay,
So
so what's the question?
my
That's extreme.
well, that's what I thought too. So I pulled away from them, and I was trying to figure out, if what I was doing is right, or I was just trying to make sense of this all. Well, last week I contacted my sister, asked her, can we sit down maybe with another person, try to work things out, and they more or less they said no until my heart was soft towards them. Well, their heart's not soft towards me, and I don't
Wait
want
a
to
minute.
give
Whoa,
my
whoa, whoa,
heart.
whoa, 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 whoa. What does that mean? It's a soft heart that comes and asks for reconciliation. So what were they wanting? What were they wanting that you were unwilling to do?
They want me to come back and without fixing anything. They want me to come back and help with my mom and come back to family events and start integrating back into the family without fixing any of the issues for the reason I left or discussing them. Maybe not even fixing them, discussing them.
Help out with your mom how?
My mom's got dementia.
Okay.
Well,
Why
so I
don't you
mean,
go?
but
Well, that's simple. Why don't you go? Doesn't say it's easy, but why don't you say, look, I want to help out with mom. I'll do anything you need me to help out with mom. Um, and we'll quarantine these other issues, and then we'll deal with the other issues as a separate matter. When I'm helping out with mom, we'll talk about
well, I asked them what mom needed, and then they wouldn't tell me.
it. Oh,
What do you need
okay.
me to do? What do you,
Well, but wait,
this was a
you
while
said
ago.
something. You said something that soft-hearted. They want you to be soft-hearted. They just want you to jump back in. I mean, you can't undo. Here's what I'm confused about. Look, what happened with your in-laws is over. They've passed on, right? Your family wasn't relating to you, and now they're saying, "Okay, hop back in, and we're not. All of this will be over. Just act like it didn't happen." Is that what they're asking you to do? And everything's great?
Yeah,
That's hard to
yeah,
believe.
that's exactly.
With people that would do that, that's hard to believe we can jump back in and they're just going to be the most wonderful people in the world. I mean,
See, I don't
I'm
see
asking
them
a
being the most.
question.
Yeah.
Okay,
Ask it
well,
again. I'm sorry.
that's what I'm asking you. You said you don't see it, but my question is, what they're telling you is, let's hop back in, forget all this, and let's be wonderful. Can that actually happen?
I don't think so
Well, why don't you think so?
because I think that they look down at me for what I do, and I don't think I
So
want to
other
discuss it to
issues,
figure out
other issues, or that issue.
with other issues too.
Well, then we still have issues. It's not just the
Yeah,
past.
I
Maybe
think we
that's my
still have
point.
issues.
You
Yeah.
do, but we don't know because you're not there. See, here's what I'm asking you. If they are telling you, well, just come back in. Look, we'll forget about all that. We're not whatever. We'll forget all about it. We'll go be wonderful. I would want to go find out if that's possible first. But you're saying you think it's not. But then if you get in it, then you have something to talk about. You said, because then you can say, look, I have made a soft-hearted attempt at this. I've come back. And yet you're still ribbing me about this. So it's not over. We do have to face it. But that would be a much better ground to stand on than just a standoff right now. In reconciling something, and I'm going to gift you. I did a 2-hour webinar on this last week, actually, or the week before. Was it last week or the week before? Called The Art of Confrontation. And the first step is really trying everything that you can do to understand and pull out of them and get to their soft-heartedness. Your best strategy here is to help create a soft heart in them, even though it's not your fault. And so I'm thinking, why not try it? And then if it breaks down, then you have something to talk about and you're helping your mom. It's not a live issue anyway. They passed on. Now, I'm not saying that that's ideal. That's not the way I would like to see relationships reconcile starting clean, but sometimes you gotta inch into it, and then hearts get softer, and then either you're able to let it go. Proverbs says, glory to a person overlooking offense. It's not interfering with anything now, and you forgive and forget. Other things do get in the way, and they're stuck in our heart. We can't be close until we deal with them with the person. But why not take her? I started saying, take her at her word. You don't believe it, but say, okay. Yeah. And inside you're going, okay, I don't believe it, but I'm going to try it. Why not? What'll be wrong with that? Well, then we kind of swallow a bunch of stuff and, have heartburn, but try it.
Well,
why not try it?
I guess. Well, you got a point. To be honest, I'm scared to try it. I'm scared we'll go back to the same thing. I
know. And if look, I've never asked people to go get traumatized, right? If it's going to be traumatized, if you're not strong enough to do it, then, I wouldn't do what I'm offering as a possible option here. But if it's not going to hurt you, it's kind of an interesting experiment. When somebody says, I was a nightmare and now I can be perfect, I'd like to go watch
that. Yeah.
Unless it's going to hurt you. The other option would say, I really want to come back, but I don't think I've really it sounds like I really don't fully understand why you were so upset with me, and I need to understand that better. Can we go to maybe a counselor together so I can fully understand? And you're making the first attempt at reconciling in an empathic way where you're saying, I need to understand more why this is so hard for you. I don't quite understand. I really want to understand. All right. Unfortunately, we're at the mark here, and I'd love to talk about this longer, but I'm going to gift you The Art of Confrontation. Albie will get your information there. For those of you who, this is a long event. I think we were there 3 hours. It's a 3-hour webinar, extensive materials you get with it on every, I'm sure there's others, but oh my gosh, we covered everything that I could think of, dynamics of what kind of relationships and what kind of conflicts and how to approach it. And trust me, I just asked her to do something, or I didn't ask her. I said, here's an option. You can do something hard. The Art of Confrontation also includes the scenarios where that's the last thing you would want to do. You would not want to try to reconcile something until you had seen some real, something to trust. You don't want to go get re-traumatized, but go look it up, boundaries.me/confront. And speaking of webinars, go sign up. Another family dysfunction. All of our calls today have been about family dysfunction. 2 hours coming up November 15th. Live event. Go to boundaries.me/family to sign up. Okay, we are at the end of a week. I hope your weekend goes well. I am on a journey trying to figure out. Some of you you've offered some really kind messages that you've posted and stuff. It looks like, I had back surgery in the spring. I've got very, very severe pain in my leg, and the back surgery was unsuccessful. And now they think that I need another knee replacement because there's some nerve stuff going on there, which I'm scheduled for in November. We did an epidural yesterday that should get some diagnostic implications too about my spine that may need some more work. And just wanted to, some of you have asked, so I'm updating you and also asking for your prayers. I always appreciate them. You guys are awesome to hang out in this journey with. Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, the podcast. Some of you download the show as a podcast. It is my privilege. It's If you saw my prayer list, what we're doing here is very high on the list that I go before God. I pray for you. I pray for what we're doing. And I am grateful for your support of the program. I mean, financial support. This isn't, we don't ask for money, but I mean, your emotional, your prayer support. Just being in the club. I love it. Okay. See you next week. Bye, guys.